Well, I gotta say, it's been a long time since I've done an updated video. So, a lot has been done, but just not enough time to get to squeeze in to do videos. So anyway, let's get to it. At this point, we have since added a wing on the back. I think I've done some other video of trying to create a wing. And so this is what we come up with so far. And the winglets are off because took it to a wheel alignment shop the other day and somebody bumped it and tore one off. So that also led me to the idea of maybe recreating some of the winglets and having some different styles. But in any case, we've been running pretty good, working out some I guess tweaks here and there as far as it running nice and smooth. Got an oil leak that I got to take care of. It's pretty significant, but got a few things installed, changed out my music. And then, but the main thing is on this video is really about this next step, and that is getting the parts prepped and ready so that way they can be made a mold of. So I've taken probably the last 3 days straight, or solid days, I should say, working on the front bumper. And I mean, the sheer amount of hours that you have to spend to sand to make sure every surface is leveled and straight. And then you got the contours, you got to make sure that they are, going in a direction that they need to go. And then also, wait a minute. Okay, you got to make sure you don't see any rough spots because I've used so many different materials on this, between fiberglass, wood, styrofoam, things of that nature. Sometimes as you sanding, you get through those different properties and they sand different because the tolerances in each one of them are going to be different to the sandpaper. So that in itself creates an uneven surface. But again, that's something that you can't really account for when you're actually doing a cut, chop, and rebuild every other day to get through your design. So the other big thing was getting the front bumper and the fender to be seamless. I wanted this area right here to be like I said, just flush, no gaps whatsoever. So it was a long time spent, at least a day and a half, getting those edges proper, getting enough material as far as the resin mesh that I make. Sometimes with carbon, like you see right here, is black. So it's not a Bondo edge because I had some concern about that coming out of the mold or breaking off, and then that's a headache to get that out and whatever. So I wanted to make sure that all my edges were fiberglass or a carbon mesh or something like that was going to hold strong. It wouldn't break off into the mold when trying to pull it back out. And these are all thoughts that you got to have and keep in mind when you're doing something of this magnitude, and worry about what the next level, what the next step is going to call for. So you can really spend, I would say, a third of your time thinking ahead. You got to stay in the game and what you're thinking about now versus what your next step is, so you can always account for that. I'm just looking at imperfections. Well, I haven't even touched the left side as far as the fender is concerned. Right side is all nice and even and straight. That line was huge to get it all nice and straight. My headlight sockets are all nice and smooth and contoured. It's seamless in there too. Which I know a separate mode is going to have to probably make for that socket working from the rear. Just something that popped in my head right now. But those are the things that come across in your mind. Like I said, you can be in the present and then your mind jump to something else. So anyway, everything is done. I thought to put my battery sockets here because I get sick and tired of this issue here, having to pop the hood. So now I'm going to bring 2 terminals and put them outside. So all I got to do is just plug up. I got the low-car power release, so that way I can release all power to the rest of the car and then mount up to that, and that can be cool. Next, let's see. So alignment, had to go back underneath the fender, make sure the holes are going to match up to the car. And then clearance too. So the other thing, my car was set up for a race or canyons. I remember we did 2 degrees on the wheels, so that means they went inward. And then now that we brought it back out because a little bit more sport street, they're at 1.5 now, I think. So that caused my tire to have hit the fender if I didn't adjust it, because I had to get some parts before we were finalizing it. But had to raise the car up a little bit, and that causes the front nose to come up some. And I was scraping and really hitting it. Now I got clearance, which I'm really excited about, because I was about to spend some money to have a lift kit installed or improvise, or even cutting into the front bumper and put some type of actuation on it, which would have caused me to have to now cut, chop, rebuild, and kill off a day and a half that I spent just getting it all nice and clean. So that was an issue. So I'm glad I got past that. I can keep my bumper at one part and move on. Let's see, I put a new floor down at the bottom right underneath the front bumper, so that way it's all nice and straight. Cut a brand new piece of wood, so I didn't have to worry about sanding or anything like that, because the one that I originally had under here, it got warped because it had been wet, and it was scraped too, because underneath and going out of the driveway area, I was hitting that. So I didn't want to spend time using Bondo, build it up. Actually, not Bondo, because I was on edge. Got to use fiberglass mesh on the wood. I was like, that's just stupid. Just cut a new piece of wood, put that on there, be done. Of course, it added a whole bunch more weight to it, so I could never just bolt it up the way I originally had it. So driver's side fender is done and prepped and ready to be sprayed again with primer with the front bumper, and then start sanding it down and getting a surface ready for 600 grit, I think, for the mold, and then make some pieces. We got Stop Tech coming. Stop Tech is going to be sponsoring the car, and so I'm waiting for the brakes to come. So right now I got my 911 SC brakes, but these are some higher end brakes I learned about a long time ago. They're really, really hard to find and expensive, so we'll be keeping those puppies. SC Granatelli sponsored my spark plug wires, so I will be showing those too when I get the motor done and nice and prettied. But I got them in a custom color. You know what? I might be able to show you real quick. I got them in the black, red, and gold, which are the Porsche colors. Let's see down in there. Oh, it's not lit. I thought maybe you could probably see. It's not lit. But let's see, am I open? I'm not open. Thought I could have probably showed you that right now, but they sponsor the spark plug wires, so I'll be getting their decals on the side of the car here pretty soon, the next time I roll. But been something else, really trying to get everything trued up, because once you make that mold, you have the imperfection coming out in every single part. So that whole perfection thing really has to kick in such a magnitude that you kind of can't foresee. But I think the most amount of work has been done on this front end. Doing the side skirts, I don't think it's gonna be that difficult, although I have a lot of detail in it, and then doing the rear is not that difficult. But man, I think the next challenging piece is gonna probably just be the diffuser over there. That's next up, so I can finish that, and then I'll be done with the complete kit. That'll be it. All right, so stay tuned. Hopefully next video we'll have some parts coming out of the mold and getting wrapped and then put back together, and then you can see the car all nice and contoured in one color, and hopefully less under construction.